Yo, we got Gordon in the house.
So listen, I was sitting here thinking, right? Very rarely does a man or woman win the lottery. And very rarely does that same person win the lottery twice.
Whoo.
Guess who's back on the podcast twice? Yes, sir.
Yo.
Second time around.
And I'm glad you're here.
Oh, yeah.
So what are we going to talk about today, bro?
This is one of my favorite topics to talk about. Put your seatbelts on because we are naming names.
Ooh.
We are naming names.
We're naming names.
We're talking about C. H. There's one more. H. And for those who don't know or been living under a rock, what is CHH?
Ooh. Christian?
Mm-hmm.
Hip? Hop. Did I get that one right?
I think you got it right. Is it still a thing? Could we Google it? Is it Googleable?
It might be.
Can we ask Siri and she's Christian hip hop? Yes, CHH, ladies and gentlemen. That's tonight's topic.
Christian hip hop, how would you define that?
The politically correct definition, I don't even know if there is one. I would say it's hip hop that is filtered through Christian content, or it's Christians using their expression of hip hop as a means to communicate biblical truths and values.
That's the best description of Christian hip hop that I've ever
That is the
heard.
politically correct definition.
And then, like,
Yeah.
as a CHH artist, like this, let's just get all the controversy out the way from the beginning. Are you a rapper who's Christian, or are you a Christian rapper?
You know, I kind of avoided that whole debate. I think they're both. I think they're one and the same. Like, how do you...
It's the same thing. Tomato,
Yeah,
tomato,
yeah.
potato.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah. Can you... I don't know how you can separate it. Authentically separate if you're a Christian who raps and if you rap. Like, yeah, it's the same thing.
That's dope. So, like,
Yeah.
I mean, you're a Christian hip hop artist.
2-time platinum watching, 3-time Grammy Award winning watching artist. Yeah.
How did you get into that?
Part of it is I don't know. So I know the timeline, and what I mean by I don't know exactly, like what was the trigger point? What was the go for it, right? I grew up in a home where rock music was satanic and mainstream hip hop was worldly. So 99.9% of our musical anything in our home was gospel, and it wasn't just gospel. It was Southern black gospel, right? So the whole idea of even hearing hip hop was like, nah, it was taboo. You don't touch that. I consume hip hop backwards. That's what I say, because for me it wasn't just you can't do it, right? It was also a conviction. We adopt convictions. Even if my parents at the time were like, they're trying to do the best that they could. They were setting bumpers for us.
Okay.
As children, you know, this is not good, that's not good. Understood that. So anytime I consumed anything hip hop was from school, my friends, or summertime, cars drive by. And here's part of a DMX song. You don't hear the whole song, you just hear part of it. Like, what is that? Boom. It sparked the interest in hip hop. So I would go to school and these fellas would talk about the new Beanie Siegel album that dropped. They would talk about Styles P and Jadakiss, and their conversations about hip hop intrigued me. I'm like, what is this world? What is this? Like, they're taking these guys' lyrics seriously. They're like, it was a whole culture.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I like that, because who am I talking to about? Hey, it's black gospel music. It wasn't grandma's music, right? It wasn't resonating. So there was there was already impregnated this interest in hip hop culture, but it was like a no. You don't mess with that. So I had this friend, this is 9th grade. He gave me a cassette tape of a group called Grits. You heard of Grits?
I've heard of them, yeah.
Grits. And he's like, he's a believer, and he was like, bro, this is Christian hip hop. And I'm like, number one, hip hop is worldly. Number two, Christians don't do that. But I was too intrigued. I had a Walkman. Some of y'all listening might not even know what that is. And a tape cassette. Some of y'all listening might not even know what that is. I I remember in my mind, I'm sneaking it home. I waited till everyone went to sleep, put my Walkman in, turned it on. And the first thing you do when you're a Christian who's skeptical, you try to find out what is Christian about this Christian hip hop. I didn't hear nothing else. I was trying to hear Jesus or God or heaven or angels. And a couple songs went by and hear none of that. I wasn't catching content. I'm like, I don't see. This is why my parents banned me from this type of music. One song said like Jesus explicitly. I'm like, oh, wow. But it wasn't enough yet. It wasn't enough to satisfy but I still kept it. And so from there, one Sunday morning, I'm watching BET, and there was a program called Bobby Jones, and he would do all the gospel stuff. One Sunday morning, Bobby Jones is doing a playlist of artists, Kirk Franklin, Mary, up-tempo gospel, which we really didn't listen to that either, right? It was too early. And then there was this song on, it was Holy Hip Hop from Holy Culture from Cross Movement.
Okay.
I forgot how that goes. Shame on me. But at the end of that video, Fanatic at the time, his song, I forgot what it's called, but it was get your hands up, word up, start jumping, get that song. He was in a basketball court and all these dancers, they had the fitteds on, and I was like, this is really a thing. Cross Movement. I remember seeing the name at the bottom of the screen before the next song came on, Cross Movement. Then I went to, before it was FYI, I think it was like Sam Goody or Coconuts, if y'all remember that, at Park City. And I grabbed the Cross Movement CD and a CD player, if y'all remember what a CD player is, and listened to it. And they had a more explicit, Christian lyrics than Grits. And I'm like, yo, this could really work. So in my mind, in my heart, I'm listening to underground, this illegal underground Christian hip hop. And that's what kind of sparked it. Yeah. So how about you?
How did I get into Christian hip hop?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not a Christian hip hop artist or
Sure.
anywhere near it. But
that's fake humility, my brother.
But I am a lover of CHH and all things CHH. But I've shared this a few times, but my first experience with Christian hip hop was no, I'm lying. I was a kid. I went to a Cross Movement concert. I was about 5. That was my first memory of Christian hip hop.
And they played that song, didn't they?
They probably did. They probably played a lot. There was probably a lot of people there that I don't even remember, but I remember it was local because a lot of Cross Movement guys were from the area. Went to Lancaster Bible College.
Yep.
I just remember it was close by, and I remember just the atmosphere being insane. I never been to a concert before, and it was dope. Never experienced anything like that. I grew up in church. And I was same way in my house. You weren't listening to rap. You weren't listening to anything else. We actually used to record off our songs off of FM 97.
Off the radio.
Off the radio. Radio is. You press play, you press record at the same time, and then you make your own mixtape off the radio.
The playback speed might be a little slower in some situations, but
and then you stop during commercials, and then now you got your hottest songs, and say there's a song you're not really sure, you run out of space on the tape, now you got to record. So we were actually recording secular songs over like Donnie McClurkin tapes.
Wow, that's called sacrilege.
Yo, it was bad, bro. Like moms go to get the tape, and think it's Donnie and it's DMX. Yeah. Oh. Wow. Rough Rider. Hey.
I'm trying to think of a Donnie McClurkin song right now. I can't think of one.
Yeah. There's one I could think of, but I'm not going to sing it.
Okay. What's the title?
It's called Walking in Authority. We used to sing it in like children's church. In authority.
It's getting hot in here like that. Went right over top of that.
Yeah, that's fun.
That was about the anointing.
But Yeah, but honestly, like growing up in church and everything, like outside of Sunday, I didn't really engage with like gospel music or Christian music. I listened to everything that everybody else listened to, and sometimes that meant going out of the way to listen to that, or moms is coming up the steps or coming in the room, gotta turn the radio down, turn that off,
Put Donnie back on.
yeah. But then like as things evolved, in like CD players and became more accessible, and like we got the wonderful software like LimeWire and FrostWire and MP3,
Napster or something like that,
and MP3 Rocket. Now you're able to access media at an accelerated rate.
Yep.
Now you can just make all these different types of mixtapes, for different vibes, different moods on CDs.
That was groundbreaking for us.
And and then not only now you're not guessing which tape is which, you just write on the CD.
Yep.
The different songs, and then you buy a case.
Yep.
And then have this case full of CDs. Bro, that was a life. And I just had a CD case full of stuff, and sometimes your friends would make dope CDs, and then you'd be like, yo, make that drum for me too. And then,
$5.
Yeah, and they pass that off to you. It was a different world. Like music, like you said, music was a different culture. It was a community. Yep. It was experience. Like
it brought people together.
Yeah, music was something that you did together. It wasn't just like your personal playlist or anything like that. And when you listen to something good, you wanted to put someone onto it, and you wanted to share it with them.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
And like had the same experience that I had. Yep.
Yeah, and it wasn't something that was like easily accessible to get to. Like, and not everybody knew how to burn CDs or even took the time to burn CDs. Usually like one person you knew, or you were that person.
Connect.
Or you were that person, and you were burning the CDs. Or now that we just incriminated ourselves. But
it's called creative marketing and distribution. That's
fair use laws. But probably around the time I was in 7th or 8th grade, I had a youth leader, Brandon Watson. Shout out.
Oh, shout out to Brandon.
Who one of the youth nights got together. He's like, yo, we're gonna do something different tonight, and we split up into two groups. Girls went with the girls, guys went with the guys. And what we did in our guys group was he played some Christian hip hop, and it was a song called Can't Trust It by Mouthpiece. And he said the line that always like, he's like, I'm beautifully made, no facelifts. These 66 books I'm laced with, wrapped around God like a bracelet. I just remember that was like, he's like, yeah, man, like that was
shout out to Mouthpiece,
one of my favorites. Like that song just really hit me. Like, and he was like, yo, what? Cause I always thought like Christian rap was whack. Like I didn't really,
that was a stigma.
I didn't really engage with it. I thought it was something that was garbage. That was corny. That was just, it was one of those things like, yo, you can't just be original and come up with your own thing. You gotta like take this like worldly idea, then try to like like sanctify it in a sense. So I just thought it was corny, and I'm like, why would I listen to something y'all do it when there's people out here that do it way better? It's way hotter, and it gets me in with my friends. But sitting in there, and like he played the song, and then what happened was he would like pause it and like, yo, what'd you guys hear? What stood out to you? And then Mouthpiece is like talking about like being fearfully, wonderfully made, and he's like, yo, yeah, that's a biblical truth, and here's where it says that in Psalms 139.
Shout out to Brandon.
And like that's tough, that's cool. And where Mouthpiece in the song, he's talking about, it's called I Can't Trust It. He's talking about I can't trust this flesh. I can't trust this flesh. And then he's talking about like I'm like a city without walls, Proverbs, like stuff like that. Like I'm like, yo, like I was engaging with music, I was engaging with hip hop on a different level, and it started to make my faith more tangible. And studying the Bible, and made scripture interesting.
I agree.
And the Bible and my relationship with Christ became personal, I would say God used Christian hip hop as a means of grace to ground me and root me in my faith, because now learning the Bible wasn't just something for those old heads and
Right.
those people. Now it's like, it's something like that actually is like intriguing to me.
With I would add people that look like me,
Yeah.
and that's huge.
Mm-hmm. And it's engaging me on my level. It's speaking into, it's speaking the language that I already speak. It wasn't something that was hard to understand, or hard to grasp the concept or the idea or the message. And it was creative, it was catchy, and it stuck.
Yeah.
And I heard this recently. It was saying that the sign of genius is the ability to break down complex ideas and make it simple. And that's what Christian hip hop did for me.
I like that.
And that's the genius of God.
I like that. Christian hip hop, I've learned more doctrine in a short period of time through CHH
Bro.
than reading the communicable attributes, like in a song. Irreducible complexities. Learn that in the song.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So there was that educational part to it as well.
And I think that's the power of music, bro. And I think that would be my warning, but also my encouragement, is that some people are like, I'm just listening to music, or I'm just listening to the beat. Like, no, music is impacting you on a level, both spiritually, physically, and mentally, that you don't understand.
Yeah.
I think the Christian hip hop that I listen to, like, really structured my formation, my spiritual formation. Like, these guys that I'm listening to were really like discipling me in real time. As I was listening to them, as I'm listening to Truth, as I'm listening to Lecrae, as I'm listening to Sea Light and Andy Mineo, as I'm listening to these guys. And I didn't really come around to listening to Ambassador till later on. But like even that album, one of my Christology is like probably one of the dopest Christian hip hop albums of all time. Like, listening to these, I'm like, yo, this is where I'm getting my theology from. I wasn't sitting in like seminary or Bible school. Like, I'm getting these concepts and ideas from Christian hip hop.
Yeah, I would say the same, because the kids in my classroom, in the back of the class, when they had their boombox and would play, I remember listening in class to the Jay-Z, I think, Blueprint 2 album. The whole album in class. The boys sat around, listened to each song, like, yo, that's twisted. That twisted verse was hot. Kanye made that beat. The way they brought me to the block and to the studio through music is the same way CHH brought us to the classroom, to the seminary, right, in front of a professor, just through music.
Yeah, man. I don't even think, I don't think it's a reach to say but I don't think it's a reach to say that I don't know if I would have went to Bible college or even now be in seminary if I hadn't first started loving Christian hip hop, because it gave me a love for the intellectual side of our faith, right?
Yep.
The Bible says that we should love God with all of our heart, soul, and our mind. What does that mean to love God? What does that look to love God with our mind? I know what it looks like to love God with my heart, with my emotions, with my passion, with my affections, right? I know what it looks like to love God with my soul, my whole being, everything that I am, my spirit, to submit that to God, right? But what does it look like to love God with my mind? To love learning about Him, to love learning who He is. And I would even say that to just anybody who sometimes people are afraid to engage with theology, right? Because of the fear that it's going to make you hard-hearted, or you'll become like some sort of Pharisee. But when you love God with your heart, soul, and your mind, all three, not either or just one and not the other.
Absolutely.
When you love God with your heart, your soul, and your mind, I think in loving Him with your mind, you get to a place where you understand the more you know, the more you know you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the beauty, because we'll spend all of eternity getting to know this God, right?
Getting to know what we don't know.
Exactly. Yeah. James says
Wow.
that we only know in part, you know. And
that's so relational, because how do you love someone you don't know, right? And Colossians says, growing in the knowledge of God. What did Jesus tell his disciples? When it came to the Pharisees, listen to what they say, just don't do what they do. But they're spitting some solid truth.
yeah.
So there is merit to understanding things about God. For me, it expands my worship. If all I know is Jesus loves you, that's great. That's a great foundation. But then to learn about God's character, his attributes, different things add to our worship. And the head and the heart hold hands. It's not one or the other.
Yeah.
So the songs I grew up predominantly were, I call it the struggle Jesus songs. He'll fix it. He'll make a way. He'll come through. And though those are encouraging, it's only one side of who God is. He's not just my bills are due God. Grandmama's sick God. You know what I'm saying?
Let him know.
Right? He'll make a way God. It's like he created. So there were some missing pieces to who God was.
Bro, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that with even with like Edward saying that, like the struggle music, right? The thing that comes to my head is a lot of times we're struggling because of it's self-inflicted. You know what I mean? And a lot of times it's like, yo, we need God to make a way because we've made a mess.
But what music genre was honest about them being the cause of it? CHH.
Yep.
I can't trust my flesh. I'm born into sin. I don't remember any gospel song spelling out like, I am born into sin. I have a heart that is rebellious against God. It's just, here's Jesus, and when I'm in trouble, he's gonna come fix it.
And that's what I would say, bro. Like when I started like really like reading books and like theological like concepts and going to Bible school, a lot of this stuff I was like, yes and amen, because like yo, I heard this, it was just stuff like I already knew. Like,
Yeah.
It wasn't that like, oh, like so and so like spit game to me and they put me on to it. Was like, no, I've already heard this stuff and like this doctrine like in songs and in the music that I was listening to.
Yeah.
You
and
know,
in our context.
Yeah.
And it kind of put you ahead of the class because, I already knew that.
Yeah. It's dope, bro. And like
Jesus is the God man. Come on. Who breaks down the Trinity more than CHH?
Yeah, even in that Christology, there's a line that Ambassador has. He says, 100% man, 100% God, 100% God, 200%. That's like
because the school, yeah.
And that's the beauty, because like that's a bar, and let me just break it down. Why does a bar?
100% God.
He says 100% man, 100% God, 200%. 100 plus 100 is 200%, right?
Yeah.
But there's 200%.
The entendre got me.
Bro, there's 100% and there's 100%. There's 200%. 200% and 200.
I never even.
Bro, and when I heard Ambassador, say that, I was like, yo.
100% God, 100% man, 200%, 200%.
Bro. And that's what I love, like Christian hip hop, listening to Christian hip hop. Like before I would just listen to hip hop casually. Like when people ask me about like, yo, like different stuff about like secular hip hop, it's not that I didn't listen to it. I just listened to it casually. But when I started to love lyricism and lyrics and words and wordplay was because of that experience.
Yeah, you know how harder it is to have a theological wordplay to make sense, and it has to be true, when you're not using cuss words, which is easy to fill in. 4-letter words are easy fill-ins when you're rapping.
Yeah.
But not when you're trying to get out a concept that somebody can check you on. You can rap about how many bodies you shot and never did it, but you can't say something that's not true about God and not get checked. So,
and I feel like we were talking about this earlier, but I feel like the lyricism in Christian hip hop is so much greater because you're kind of limited. And I hate to use that word, but you're limited on the ideas that you can communicate to an extent, because we're talking about biblical truth, right? And like we're limited, like they're limited to like communicating the truth from the Bible's point of view. Now there's so many angles and different things that you can hit about, but they're constantly representing the same idea, the same concept over and over and over, but just fresh, boom, fresh wordplays. For like they're sharing the gospel. That's really what the music is doing.
Right.
Over and over and over and over, talking about Jesus. It's like, how can you talk about Jesus so much and never run out of things to talk about?
It's everlasting.
Because it's one, that's just who Jesus is, of being eternal, but essentially like that just speaks to the creativity and the level of giftedness of like Christian hip hop artists.
Yeah, and it's directly from the Creator, right?
Yeah.
God was what he said. He spoke, and the world was created. So he's the first spoken word artist, right? He just didn't have a beat yet.
Yo,
First spoken word.
That was a bar.
Look at and you know this. The Old Testament at its core, Hebrew literature, very poetic. They don't have the rhyme schemes that in our culture that we like, but very poetic book. That's where we get it from.
That's dope.
Yeah, man.
So one of the other things I want to talk about is like, who are you listening to right now?
Man, you're gonna be disappointed. I go back. I read this statistic the other day. People in my age range start to lose taste in new music. So I caught myself, and I'm like, nah, let me go listen to some of the younger guys, because I'll go back mainly for nostalgia purposes and just get stuck on a cycle. Like, I can remember where I was when I heard that song, what I was thinking, what I was going through. So newer music is like, it's not going to give me memories. But then I got to be like, but you can create new memories with new music. So from start to finish, complete album with someone new, probably be Hovey.
Hovey, yeah. I like Hovey.
Yep, I don't know why. I even told my son to listen to his album. Just I don't know why. Maybe there's something in that. But I've heard a little bit of everything that's been out. But just start to finish album is probably Hovey. Yeah, it was weird, but
no, Hovey is nice for
yeah.
Hovey's nice.
He's a worshiper.
He's definitely a worshiper.
He's a worshiper.
Like that one song he got, "You're beautiful, you're beautiful."
It takes courage.
Yeah.
With his platform being signed to the biggest label in Christian hip hop history, and he's just gonna sing pretty much psalms that rhyme. And he don't have to. He can just everybody can do the Lil Baby flow and just get streams. But it's like, no, I'm gonna sing to God, and I'm like, yo, that's dope.
Yeah.
Yep.
One thing I like about Hovey is like, again, like one thing I like about just a lot of the like younger crew that I feel like is coming in is just like this, that 116 mantra, that unashamed, about the gospel and like what Christ has done in their life. And I feel like that's something that definitely comes through in a lot of the Hovey songs. Even like probably his most famous song. I mean, I don't know what his streams and stuff are like, but like I feel like
It's a little bit more than mine.
But I feel like what I hear people playing a lot is that I'm gonna butcher it, but the "Fight of Your Life" song.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's.
I'm stepping in the ring for the fight of my life. I know. Yeah, that drum.
Before that, it was the Motion song.
Yeah.
Hit that rock guitar.
Going through the motions.
Who's this guy? Right.
Yeah, but he got this song out right now called "Beautiful." I really like that. I really like that song.
I listened to the entire album. So we can't talk CHH without talking about Lecrae. He's he's definitely been a topic of either controversy or just confirmation of God doing what God does. Where do you land on? There's some who say that he fell off, or we was talking on the way over here, like he's always been kind of like not really in. He's just in it for the money. I know he speaks out against, in a cordial, professional way of why that's not true. I've had debates with people like, no, I don't like Lecrae's music anymore. And I'm like, why? Because it changed. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I when I listen to, all right, if we go to Anomaly, right? One of my favorite. No, it's not. Is it Anomaly? It's Anomaly. It's on Anomaly. There's a song on the album Anomaly, right? And Lecrae goes, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus,
Yep.
to all of my haters, to the ones who think I forgot them, and to the ones who won't let me say it.
Jesus,
I was like, it don't get more overt than that, bro.
Yeah, that joint hit.
It don't get no. And that's the thing. It's just like when I listen to Lecrae, I've never seen him fall off, in his faith. You know what I mean? And I think I hate to say it. I feel like some people like came at him unjustly and unfairly just because they felt like he wasn't rocking with their camp no more, bro.
Oh, definitely. That's not even a secret.
Yeah,
that definitely happened. Yeah, I felt the same way, and he's been transparent about stumbling along the way, like we all do. But also, we can't be like, yo, I like KB, but I don't trust Lecrae.
Yeah.
And KB was like, Lecrae is the same dude.
Yeah.
So my defense has always been to knock Lecrae and where he's at. You would also have to knock everyone around him, his wife, his kids, his pastors, his leaders. It's not just one man,
bro. And here's my thing. This is about Lecrae. This is about anybody in Christendom. This is a dumb word, but within Christian culture, who has any sort of platform or clout, right, or platform, or large following, whatever you want to call it, they're living out their sanctification process in front of the spotlight. You know what luxury you and I have to not have, to not have that.
Oh, yep.
Like, we can do things in our everyday life, and it's not going to end up on Rapzilla. Like, it's not going to.
Ruslan, even though I like Ruslan, shout out to Rus. It's not going to end up on Ruslan's channel.
Yeah, it's not going to end up on. It's not going to end up on Ruslan's channel. It's not going to be the topic of all these Christian content creators and YouTubers or these CHH channels. Like, we have the ability to take risk in our own lives, to be cutting edge, to take certain liberties without millions of eyes watching us.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So anytime somebody makes a decision at that level with that type of platform, there's going to be people who disagree. There's going to be people like, no matter how bold he is with the gospel, there's going to be people who say he's not bold enough.
It's not enough.
It's not overt enough. Nope. It's not unashamed enough. Like I was telling you, I was talking to somebody and he said, well, Lecrae doesn't rap like this other person. So when I listen to this other person, I feel the anointing in the rap. When I listen to Lecrae, I feel nothing. And I said, well, what is your measurement for anointing?
Right.
It's just, I just feel it. So you're limiting the anointing on somebody's life or somebody's ministry based off your personal feeling. And I don't think that's the measurement or the gauge for anointing. And instead of measuring somebody's, whether they're a Christian or whether they're saved or whether their ministry is good based off your personal feeling or preference, how about look at the fruit?
Yep.
How about look at the fruit of it? How about look at the testimony of the witnesses around him, of his character, like KB, like Trip, like others in the game.
You would have to discredit everything and be like, no, that's fake. KB, he's a real one. Tripley, he's solid, but everyone else is. You can't do that.
Yeah. So it's like, all right, well, KB, Trip, Tadash, they're all good, but let's write off.
Yeah.
Let's write off Lecrae. And not for nothing, bro. Like, I don't feel like there's some people that I feel that at this point, especially with the younger generation, have a lot more reach, no pun intended, but that aren't getting the same level of scrutiny as Lecrae, that are doing stuff that are way more questionable.
Yeah. I agree. That's
like
took it there.
like
Took it there.
NF. And I hate to say it, like we have NF.
I think I know where you're going with this one.
My guy NF came into the game, right? Came into the game. He's with Flame, and he's singing. He's singing in the background,
You
like,
can start over.
you can start over. You can start over.
He was in the background,
And
it's
then-
like Andy Mineo.
and then he put Jesus in the background, like, like he, Mansions came out, took off. It was a dope album. I really rocked with NF when he was coming out. I'm like, yo, like, this dude's fire. He's tough. And I'm not saying, and for those listening, I'm not doubting his lyrical capability. Obviously, the dude is talented, and he can probably go bar for bar with anybody within CHH or within like secular hip hop, right? Like, the dude is talented, and you're talented when you get on somebody like Eminem diss this man on a track, like like you're talented if you're on somebody's radar like that, right?
And you're talented when you're assigned to a major label and not a little Christian joint from around the way.
Yeah, and my thing is, like, I guess, like, what hurt me from watching NF is that he came in, he marketed himself to youth groups, to churches, grew his following, and then kind of just dipped. And the content of his music is really dark. Like, people like asking, like, why I don't listen to him, is because, like, I feel like when I will listen to NF, I go on this emotional roller coaster.
And people like that for some reason.
And they like that. And I get, like, even like his new album is called Hope, but at the same time, it's just like, all right, but what am I putting my hope in, bro? Like, what should be the substance of my hope? What should be the aim of my hope? What is the anchor of my hope, as Hebrews would say? You know what I mean? And that has to be Jesus. And I think, like, I think, like, if this were 2010 and, like, he were to make a move like that, like, I kind of wonder, like, yo, would he get the same level of scrutiny?
The
or is it
gatekeepers would have shot that down. Yep.
Yeah, and I don't hear many people saying it, but sometimes I wonder, you're like, yo, does NF get a pass because he's white? And I hate to play that card. Like, Like, are we, like, because, like, bro, like, if you think about it, there is very few, and, like, I'm saying this as graciously as possible, there are very few Christian hip hop artists with the fan base and the influence and the impact that NF has.
Yeah, part of it is the machine, right? But to your point, how many collaborations has NF done with anybody in CHH? Even a second Flame collab. 0.
But to his defense, he don't do much collabs with anybody on his albums. It's usually just him.
But we talked about how hip hop, even mainstream, it's a community.
Yeah.
Shout out to Drake. He did features with everybody. He doesn't have to. And when we're all believers, right, and we live by the same matter of fact, we have the same spirit. You can pull a J. Cole and be like, I am not doing features, but even he started doing features with artists who don't even rap like him.
Yeah.
Don't even come from the same context. But there's something to, and I'm gonna just stay by myself. It's not what we promote as a body, right? And here's Lecrae. He got 2 white guys on his label.
Yeah. Yeah, and bro, like, one of the things I think is, like, as a Christian artist, I'm not saying that you have to be, whether you're a musician, whether you're a rapper, whether you're a singer, whether you're a painter, an architect, like, for the architect, you don't make Christian buildings, you make buildings, right? But you should seek to glorify God in everything that you do. And in creating that building and creating that art and creating that drawing with such an excellence that, like, yo, like, it means something. It has an impact.
Yeah. It points up.
Yeah,
It's like, man.
it points up. It creates beauty. It creates awe. It reflects the Creator, an awesome God, who created us with such intrinsic detail and intelligent design. I think when I listen to NF's music, I don't feel that. I'm like, yo, like he's talented. It's cool, but it doesn't make me feel close to God. And at the end of the day, like there might be some people and they might feel like it draws them close to God. I know people personally that have been impacted by his music and said it's helped them through dark times. For me personally, like it's just not my cup of tea.
Yeah,
At the end of the day, just to be fair, I would land on that. Like I'm not gonna bash the guy, but I feel like there's people like Lecrae, there's others that have been held to a higher standard, and like when they made the switch of like marketing themselves to like a Christian audience, to then trying to go and like do more, like have a more outreach focus than inreach focus, right? They were hit back with like such scrutiny, where like NF was just like,
let him slide. Yeah, he's packing out our churches. My kids like little Spencer likes him, so I'm not, that's his favorite. He's safe, right?
Yeah,
he's a safe artist. He's not Eminem. He's not MJK. So yeah, let's keep him.
Yeah.
Lecrae will lead. His influence will lead you to the baby, but NF, nope. It's fine.
Yeah, I think that we could do a whole podcast of that. Yeah, that's something worth like diving into, because I think there's a lot at play like that, and I think a lot of that comes down to one, personal preferences, and prejudice within our own mindsets, right? And it doesn't necessarily mean that like that it's a racist thing, right? But there's something within our minds, or that we're preconceived to see certain people, certain styles as worldly or demonic, and we're so quick to write it off. So like there's like some young guys, Vert Mob, like TJ Carroll, Big Breeze, Scotty Wap, in their style resembles like Lil Baby. Their style would very well Rod Wave, like stuff like that.
Yep.
And it's so easy to like, oh well, they're worldly, like they're this, they're too close to like they're too close to that like that.
Yeah, they're not. It's not safe.
Yeah,
and
it's not.
That's the measure. Is it safe? Is it going to lean them towards? And I think I used to have that perspective too. Like, because when you're a Christian CHH artist, you're instantly compared to someone else.
Yeah, and I don't like that, bro.
Compared to Jay-Z, Lecrae's compared.
I don't like that, bro.
We get that, and we earned it because we used to.
It's like a badge of honor that people think like it's a compliment.
Yeah, but you'll never establish your own. And we came in like early 2000s. We came in trying to be the alternative to someone else.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna who's the guy? BBJ sounds just like Biggie, and it's like you don't have to be the alternative in a sense. Find your own, create your own lane. I think what we're seeing now, he might sound like a Lil Baby but I think hip hop like languages has accents.
Yeah.
So you're gonna sound like the region you're from.
Yeah.
They could care less. I'm not in the booth trying to rap like Baby. Matter of fact, I lived on the same block as Baby.
Yeah.
But I got saved and he didn't. That's why it sounds similar.
Yeah.
I think that's what's happening more than KJ 5-2. Let me try to be like Eminem. Let me be the alternative to Eminem. And it's like, that's why he clowns you on the Dear Slim thing, but that's how we thought we had to reach them. We got to sound like who their favorite secular artist is, and then win them to Jesus.
I think the best way, and the best thing to do is just to create dope music.
Yep.
And I think, and that's what I think this like generation is doing.
That's
bro.
what they don't care
and
about.
they don't care, and they're doing it unashamed. Like when I think of like artists that I'm really rocking with right now, No Big Deal, John Keefe,
the whole,
MTM, Isaiah. Shout out to my guy Abel, J Monty,
Indie Squad,
bro.
What Up RG,
right music. That whole squad.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, like there's so many dope artists with a unique sound, a unique feel that brings something different to CHH. And you're not sacrificing on quality, you're not sacrificing on sound, you're not sacrificing on lyricism. Actually, I feel like
authenticity.
Actually, I feel like
they gotta please now.
Yeah. I feel like all those artists that I just mentioned are actually an upgrade from secular artists. Like if you actually engage with like the music and the production, even why is his name leaving my mind? Oh man, he's from Reach, the young boy. Come on.
I named What Up RG.
This is an injustice that his name. And just for anybody, then I'm terrible with names. Like,
hold on, we're gonna figure this out.
Bro.
Let's look at the roster.
The young boy, the Mexican kid.
What Up RG?
Yeah, What Up RG? Yeah. If he's not Mexican, I'm sorry I said that.
I think he is Mexican.
But yo, What Up RG? Like, listen to his album. Like,
another full album.
It's an experience.
I played his album out loud on the block because we take turns on my block. If the neighbors got their speakers out, they'll play whatever, uncensored, and that's just how it's music. They're not like, oh, this is secular music, and I'm intentionally they're playing what gives them a vibe. But when it's quiet, and I'm like, all right, boom, it's my turn.
Yeah,
I'll play something that the young bulls across the street would be like, okay, that's a bop.
Yeah, What Up RG is dope. Like his music is dope. Like just like production, like that guy is so creative.
They care about it.
Yeah. He's creative, and one of the things I think that makes What Up RG so dope is that he kind of has like he brings a new school feel with the old school vibe. Like we're old school. Like your artists weren't putting out albums like boom, 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 boom. If you rock with What Up RG, you might be waiting a little while for in between albums, bro. But it like builds up the suspense, it builds up the hype, and then when you listen to it, you're like,
They care about the artistry. They care about music.
Yeah.
Before it was just let's get the message out.
Mm. Yeah, bro. And there's really dope artists right now.
The talent pool is out there. I even like Aha Gazelle. When I first heard it,
man,
I was like, yo, this is different. And then I seen this is before Reels came out, but Lecrae was on Instagram playing a song from Aha. This is before they signed him. And he was like, yo, y'all watch out for this dude. And I was already on it. I was like this dude is going to, he's unique. He sings. He's like.
Yeah, I was just listening to a song on with Aha Gazelle and KB on Dio and OU. Don't know why you on this. I was making sure I got
the monster joint.
Yeah, that monster, that song.
I
wish to be a monster.
They bring a different energy.
Yeah.
But then we gotta also giving flowers to a guy like Derek Minor.
Yeah.
Because he brought, I think he's from the South, but he brought it.
He brought a trap vibe.
Yep, him and Cannon, like.
Yeah, Cannon was dope, bro. Like for like I listened to like Cannon, like his first few Cannon volume albums or mixtapes, projects, whatever you want to call.
Had some volumes that it was a dope era to be in. And I had every Lamp Mode records, Shaolin, Timothy Brindle, those dudes, and then you get a Reflection music group with Derek Minor, Cannon, Tony Tillman. Then you got Reach, of course, Trip. This is KB, young KB and Andy. But it was just like, man, when's this album dropping?
My first the first song I heard by Andy Mineo. Yeah, Andy Mineo was my guy. I mean,
Did you
still
know
like,
he did background? Because some people don't know that's the same dude.
yeah, I know he did background. I didn't know he did background because I was rocking with him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but I knew Andy Mineo as C Light.
That's crazy.
And the first song, or one of the first songs I remember with Andy Mineo was No Tombstones.
I never heard that.
You never heard? And he was C Light. He was like, bury me with no tombstone, cause I don't care if they know my name. To Christ be the glory. Tell my right story.
Hear that?
Yeah.
I thought he was dope. Andy was one of the first artists that let us into the artistry.
Yeah.
He wasn't a mystery. He did his Saturday morning cartoons, behind the scenes. When Neverland hit, I was like, yo, this dude got bars. He likes music, like put horn, strings, live bass. I'm like, this is
he was
dope.
he elevated, and like give Andy his flowers too, cause Andy elevated CHH as a creative space.
Yep.
And just the quality of production and thought. Like I think even like when you were listening to Andy, like you were listening to something that was on par. Like, and what I say, like, and I'm not saying that like for many people CHH isn't a, like, if you don't rock with some people CHH is all they knew. They got saved, they listened to CHH, or they grew up in a Christian home. They didn't really listen to any secular music, so CHH is just all you knew.
Yeah, and it's your youth group.
Yeah, but
playlist.
But for people who really rocked with like secular music prior to CHH, right? Like sometimes you would hear CHH and you're just like, yo, production quality kind of whack. And unless you fell in love with Jesus and fell in love with the lyrics, like you wouldn't really appreciate the music. But I feel like Andy, and I would also give credit to just Truth and some of the stuff that he did, where it just like really elevated the level of artistry and production within CHH, because like when I listen to Truth, obviously they compare his
he's Jay-Z.
He's Jay-Z. Like he even sounds like like his ad libs.
He would admit to that. Like that was his influence.
His ad libs and his flow.
But his lyrics, his lyricism caused me to step my game up.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo.
Yeah, don't sleep on his lyrics. He's a lyricist for real.
Yep.
He's a lyricist for real, and if you don't catch it, you'll miss it. But the Truth, like his production, where like, bro, it's an experience. Like in the way that he was able to incorporate gospel and soul into like the CHH space, bro. Like Truth is forever. Yeah. Like he's forever one of my
Mount Rushmore.
Of CHH. Like he's forever one of my favorite artists. I still rock with him. I still listen to a lot of his old stuff.
Yeah, that's one artist. No matter what album he puts out, I'm gonna hear it front to back, even if it's like it doesn't compare to these three. But
bro,
his same with Lecrae for me. I've heard every Lecrae album.
Yeah, one of the albums that I've liked, and this is again like, I mean, this is like, I didn't have to listen to CDs at this point in my life, but I was still listening to CDs.
Different type of vibe.
Yeah, it was a different type of vibe.
Yeah.
But like this is towards the end of my high school, the end of being in high school, and I went to this like local Christian bookstore. And I wasn't even, because of the area which I wasn't even sure they were going to have it, but they ended up having the Truth's album. I got it the day it came out. And they had it. Love, Hope, War.
Okay. Yep.
And that song, Jesus is for Everybody.
Oh, yeah. Jesus is for everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he has another song on there with Swoop.
Swoop's a beast.
Oh, my gosh, bro.
Swoop is slept on out here. I feel you, buddy.
Bro. But even before that, like the Man Up album, I mean, the song Man Up and the album The Whole Truth, just what went into that, bro. And even as we were talking the one day, like just the story behind that. Like when I started listening to Truth, I didn't know all that stuff. Like, and that's the thing is like people like I think for younger people listening, it might be kind of hard to understand or like be able to wrap your mind or your brain around that it's not like today where you know everything about everyone, you know, and you have like Christian media outlets that are constantly putting stuff out. Like if you want to know like Christian media, Christian news, or Christian gossip or what's really going on, you had to like go to a website like christianpost.com or you know like
and by the time the article came out, the issue might have been 3 weeks dead already.
It wasn't hot, it wasn't burning. It might have been a few years, so like I didn't know any of the stuff about Truth until like years later. And honestly, like it didn't make his music any different to me. If anything, I was like, wow, like he made this after that. Wow, look how good God is. Like the faithfulness of God in his life to not only like restore him, but to like continue to allow him to be fruitful,
reinstate your ministry like Jesus did with Peter.
And that made I think that made like some of the stuff that I was listening to after like hit different when I go back and listen to it, because after we had that conversation the one time, because I was like, I didn't know like that the whole truth when that album was about that, and I went back and I'm just like, that made every song like hit with way different. More I'm just like, I think like if you're a person and you're listening to this and you've gone through a dark season, you've been through some stuff, not even before Christ, like in Christ, go listen to that Truth album and allow it to just like minister to you, because one of the things that I always say on this podcast is, it's not finished and God is not done with you. To see somebody like Truth who's made music after that, who's still making music after that, who is ministering and who God has been faithful to restore not just his ministry, but his life, his marriage,
his family,
his family.
It's a powerful story.
It's a powerful story.
So I'm a nerd. So when I like Rapzilla and not before, but at the time, The South was another Christian news outlet. I don't know if they merged or they just disappeared, but
The South, I used to get mixtapes off of there.
Yeah, The South. Shout out to The South. What happened to y'all? Did y'all move up north? Like, what's up? The South. But so I would go and read anything I could, listen to any snippet, any article, just to get a bigger picture. And then when he started being public about the big picture, wow. When he started to be public about what happened and how he was restored, I'm like, this is that's something I kept with me. I got to meet him post that season. But check this out. So Ambassador said something before, like, he didn't like how CHH was always marketed towards young kids, right? If there's a big event or a conference, you have your rappers, and what do they use for? It's to open up. But then you bring out the worship team. And you have little kids listening to these grown men in their 30s pour their life out. That's not how you treat the music. These are grown men. He said, we don't write music for little kids. We write music for the people where we're at. Like, I'm a grown man. So stop treating our music like it's for kids. You know what I mean? And I'm like, that is dope. So when the Truth put that out, it's for people who can draw strength from it and encouragement. It's not for the youth group, 7th graders, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because we don't consume mainstream music or hip-hop the same way. They got cut off when things went down, when they fell short publicly. They were cut off. The church didn't know what to do with it. You guys are the face of the movement. What do we do? But people consume music every day that talks about their infidelity, their unfaithfulness. We make it memes. We make it a lifestyle. These guys are like, it crushed me. It hurt God, and I'm asking for help. Well, where's the grace at? And then NF comes out, and I'm depressed, and I was like, okay, cool. It's crazy. I know these guys sit and think and talk about these things, but
yeah.
Yeah.
And I get like there are people who struggle with people who with of influence who fall into sin in the midst of while they're at their peak or in the midst of like influence. But like I would encourage us to not see as like God's grace as insufficient for people who hold a platform or people who have giftedness. Like they need the same grace that I need, that you need. And the only difference between their sin and my sin and your sin and other people's sin is, we know about it.
A couple more people know about it. Yeah.
A couple more people know about it.
Yep.
And it doesn't make their sin greater, but it also doesn't mean that the power of the cross is any less because they had a platform. That God
preach that. Yeah.
That God is still able to restore and redeem all things. And like I would never look at somebody who fell and had a great following as being beyond the redeeming hand of God. And I'm not saying that is an ideal situation, because it's not, or something that we should praise or something like that, because it's not. But the Bible does say that when a sinner repents, all heaven rejoices.
Isn't that what makes our faith beautiful? And mainstream artists have the same pains and the same woes and trials, and they have a different way of coping. And they might end up taking their own life. Hope, what makes hope bright is it happens, the backdrop is darkness, right? We can't just hear the happy Jesus come, it's, like I said before, God's a healer, but we don't like to be sick. God fixed broken things, yeah, but things are broken. At least we're honest, or should be, about the condition of the heart. Look at a David. Look at an Abraham.
And that's what I was thinking. Right? I was thinking that the other day, and I was going to make a post about it, but I didn't. There's a lot of things I want to talk about and post, and I ended up not doing it. Yeah. But I was like, if you got David's resume and you're the lead pastor of a church, and he applied to be a worship leader at your church, would you hire him? He got murder on his criminal background. He committed adultery while, let's say, ministry, being the king of Israel, being God's representation to a nation here on earth. Yeah. Commits adultery and then murders to cover it up.
And that's the sins we know about.
Yeah. Those are the ones
we know about,
yeah,
right?
Those are the ones recorded.
Yeah.
Like, David, somebody said this once, and like, they said at the end of his life, they laid a virgin down next to him to see if he was really dead. Yeah. Bro, but does that testify to just how strong his lustful desires and urges really were? That like, if he's really like, even on his deathbed, he might, if he's really alive, he won't be able to resist.
Yeah, let's go get him a young, pretty young thing, right? And that's crazy.
And then when he didn't respond, he's dead.
That's crazy. That's the end of his life.
And this is the person that we quote, that we sing.
The whole genre of Christian music is based off of David's songs. He's in heaven like, here y'all go. Like, Peter's like, yes, I denied him. Like, come on. Yeah. But, yeah.
God uses the foolish things of this world to shame the wise, right? And God uses crooked sticks to draw straight lines.
Amen.
And I think that's.
I think Clues bombs.
I think Lecrae says that in one of his songs too.
Yeah, and we don't know the fruit of that.
Yeah,
we don't know who's called, email, sent these artists text and like, yo, thank you.
Yeah,
we don't know.
And that's one thing. Like, I want to just personally, like, again, like, I think it's important that, like, and maybe this is just the grace of God, that, like, despite Ambassador, despite Truth, the things that they fell into and went through, like, God has used their music and still is using their music to impact and change. Because like, bro, I didn't really rock when I got into CHH. I feel like all that, I think, I don't know, all that stuff with Ambassador had already gone down. But like, also like, I didn't really like the older style of like Christian hip hop. I was like, yeah, that's for y'all, it ain't for me. Like some people are like, yo, listen to this cross movement. I'm like, and I didn't have an appreciation for music then the way I do now.
Yeah.
So a couple years ago, someone was like, yo, you gotta listen to, we were talking about the best CHH albums of all time. And somebody had told me that he was like, yeah, he was naming a few. I'm like, yeah. And he's like, yeah, number 1 best Christian hip hop album of all time. Christology by Ambassador. I was like, what? Bro, you
based on what?
I was like, bro, you tripping. And
what's the criteria?
I was like,
right.
I was like, Ambassador.
Ooh, like that.
Ambassador. And he was like, bro, just listen to it. And I went back and I listened to that. And yo, that is one of my favorite albums all time.
It's dope.
When I listen to it, just like the lyricism and the theology, it's dope. It's dope. It's dope. But like that's just to say that like, yo, like God is using their music, and just because they might not be popping or on the same level,
it was for the times, right?
That they, because I mean, that's artists, bro. Like there's so many artists that they were like, yo, big in their day, they were cool. That's in the secular world too. And like, even like, all right, yeah, the last 3 years in a row, Nas has dropped the album, but who's talking about it, right? Like he dropped like King Disease 2, King Disease
3,
King
very
Disease
creative
3.
titles, by the way.
Yeah, but like, yo,
yeah,
but who's talking about it? But like, yo, you listen to Illmatic, that joint is still fire to this day. Then I think, and kind of draw the parallel, which I hate doing, but that to me is Ambassador, is truth. Like,
yeah,
their music, yo, is their old stuff is still fire. And yo, I don't think they have to elevate to that same level, or we need them to like have this crazy comeback for like CHH to grow.
I think they stopped too soon.
Yeah.
They didn't see where music was going, or they felt the Lord was like, we came to a closing point. But I don't think the transition was smooth.
Yeah.
Like passing the baton wasn't a smooth transition. And I think Lecrae stood up to the plate and was like, no, we got to keep this thing going. So we got to think of the next sound, the next wave. And I think Cross moved like, no, we're done. The book is closed. Boom. Flame kept it going for a little bit.
Yeah.
That dude still
he's still rapping. He's rapping his
theological, no matter what. He'll keep up with the flows of the time and the production and the beats. But you're getting a sermon every Flame song.
Yeah. Flame is his raps are heavy theological, and now he's like within like Lutheran theology. So
yep,
you're getting
you're gonna get.
You're getting a lot of stuff like that, which I enjoy. Like I might not.
He's passionate about just the truth of God. He didn't fall away from that. He don't have no song that's just neutral.
Yeah,
he'll do a song about circumcision. Like he'll he'll do it.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, but it's in a genius way because it's crazy. You get a little history lesson, you get theology, you'll get doctrine, and you'll get a 5-point sermon.
He makes you think.
And the beats are dope. I'm like,
he makes you think, and that's one thing I appreciate about Flame. And I've always appreciated Flame is his music is gonna make you think.
Yeah.
Even his most recent song about baptism, I'm like. And he's explaining like the history of baptism, and
like, he
why
don't have to do that in 2023.
Yeah,
you can Google. He's rapping about it.
Yeah, and like obviously like Lutherans are big on like infant baptism, and he's explaining the. And I'm not saying that I agree, but
He's gonna let you.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's
he's
gonna
explaining like
spell it out, and then
the theology and like how they've come to those conclusions, and what they believe is the orthodox perspective of infant baptism and stuff like that.
And don't act like Flame don't got money. Not that it's important, but he's been independent longer than most other camps have. When he left Cross Movement and started Clearsight, that was just him, and then he had V Rose, he had Mike Real. And he did have slipped my mind. He did have another dude, but he left. But on the marketing side, business side, if you have your own label and you're kind of the main artist and you're having shows lined up, you're making bread. But he's not one to flaunt it. I know he had that lawsuit against Katy Perry for the.
Should have won.
He won and then he lost it. I'm like,
he should have won.
That was crazy. But you know what? I was like, don't do that, because they'll start digging in the old CHH albums, and how many times have we flipped and used?
Yeah.
Yep. I don't want that smoke. Just let it go. Let that jam go.
But oh my goodness, when I was like just that. That was insane. It was insane.
It was, but money talks, and y'all don't have the lawyers that Katy Perry has, and she probably never showed up to any of those court filings. It was her representative. It was like, she's on a different.
When I heard it, I was like, bro, like, and here's why I feel like people think this is why it's not a stretch or like a reach, because one, Katy Perry grew up in church, and like Joyful Noise, like by Flame, was a major.
Yeah, that skyrocketed.
Was a major, like what?
You almost forget Lecrae was on that song. That's how.
Yeah, Lecrae was on that song.
Yeah, he's second verse.
I don't even remember. I just.
Yep.
But it was one. It was like now.
Oh, and The Truth wrote the hook for that. I found that out. That was like a fun fact for me. I was like, what?
Bro. Now, when you look at Christian hip hop, you see that a lot, where they intersect worship and rap, right?
Yeah.
But like that was like unheard of. Like you didn't see that
separated.
Yeah. Oh, there's worship music. There's rap music, and like for Flame, and I don't know if he's the originator, but I'm gonna originate. I don't think there's like the KB style of like, where we're getting Oceans and then rap without Flame on Joyful Noise.
I agree.
And or even just like Armies and then rap by KB. Like I would say like Joyful Noise had to, on some level, whether cognitively or uncognitively, like inspired inspired that in people, because like that song at the time was the only song that I knew like that, where it was like worship and rap.
Like felt it.
Like I mean, like truth was bringing gospel and rap together, but like I'm talking about like worship, like CCM,
and doing it well, like that was great.
And that was a fire song. That note is still fire.
Yeah. But then on that same album, right, he has Go Buck, which is about sinners being repenting and then heaven throwing a party. And it sounds just like a Busta Rhymes track. So I'm like, don't press the lawsuit. So go digging. But
so for you, what are some of the most impactful
so I got
songs?
my list. I did my homework. I got my list. Let me pull it up. I know you said 5, but I had 10. I did this last week.
That was albums, right?
You said songs. There's no way in the world I can name just 5 songs. But I got a list. I got a top 10 list. Albums.
Okay. What's your top 10?
Let me pull it up. Let me see. Where did I write this down at? Okay, here we go. No particular order, right? And when I mean my top 10, these are albums that I'll go back and listen to. So I have Flame, Our World Redeemed.
Woo!
The Joyful Noise was on that joint. I think that was the last song. Fanatic, Incredible Walk. That was my joint. The Truth, Moment of Truth.
Moment of Truth. That album.
Lecrae, Rebel. I know a couple people whose lives have been saved off that album. Like, that's facts.
Amen.
Everyday Process. They were from Cross Movement.
All right, I ain't never heard that one. I'm about to check that out.
Them my dude, and I found out one of them or both of them grew up in the same city I did, Chester, PA. R. Swift, you remember R. Swift?
Oh, R. Swift is my guy. So like, let me. You know, when I was younger, I was a huge Rick Ross fan, bro. Rick Ross, got so many shades when you swear I had a lace, and I don't know why. Like, I don't know. It's just the R. Swift rap style wasn't similar to Rick Ross, but like his persona.
Yeah.
What
a big dude.
Yo, I love, but R. Swift was my guy.
Yep.
R. Swift was my guy.
I got to meet him in person. So if I had to compare, and I don't want, if he's watching, we are Instagram friends, but it's not a comparison of talent or skill, but just he's from Philly, so he has the Philly sound. So a rapper like Freeway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Would be I guess a close comparison, but
yo, R. Swift was that dude.
Yeah.
Yo, R. Yeah.
Yo.
I downloaded, bro. I mean, I need to go give these guys some, like, I need to pay them money or something. 'Cause I had all their songs for free, bro.
Statutes of limitations for albums, right?
Yo, I had every R. Swift song, and there's this one, I think it's called Like You.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about, like, relationships or something.
He was R. Swift.
That joint was my
If
tip.
I'm wrong, bro, correct me. But I feel like I listen to all your albums front to back, all of them. Soapbox, Revolutionary theme music, all of that, right?
Revolutionary.
But Anthem was probably one of my favorites. He has a song on there called Chased, where he actually sings, and I was like, yo, that's dope. But I can tell that he had the skill set.
Oh, and he did Awesome God. Oh my.
Awesome God.
Goodness.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh.
He had the skill set to.
That's how I got into R. Swift.
Awesome
I
God.
forgot.
That
He did the remix.
That was a big hit for him.
Oh my goodness.
What we hear now, like you hear like a What Up RG, you hear like a 1K Few, Aha Gazelle, where you know they're believers, they're storytellers, they have wordplay. R. Swift had that, but I think he felt the pressure of cross movement and having to make everything theological. And I'm like, nah, bro, let that Philly out, because a couple other Philly rappers, Jay Silas, he's on the Truth's first album. I don't know if you heard of Jafia Life.
Yeah, I've heard of him.
I can't think of the other dude's name, but yeah, Swift. I always was like, yo, he can go. This brother can go.
Yo, Anthem, Anthem was my genre. And yeah, Revolutionary theme music. Yeah, I listened to this.
This is, I don't know if this classifies more as a CHH R&B album, but this dude got bars, and Christian Grey, School of Roses.
That's a great album.
When that joint hit, I was like, yo, this is on a different level. This is
never long.
His lyricism, yeah.
Yo, Christian Grey.
I was playing that today at the job. I was like, yo, that album is classic.
I
don't think he can repeat that. I'm sorry, but I know you have part 2 out, but it's
Christian Grey. Yeah, I really liked when they had that WLAK.
Yeah, We Live as Kings. Yep,
yeah,
that whole movement. What was their label called? Swoop was on it. Alex Faith, Trey Murray.
Yeah.
Man, I forget. A lot of little labels. Yep. But that Cross Movement, Holy Culture is probably my favorite album of theirs. It was the first one I heard. And Andy Minnie on Neverland. That was groundbreaking to me. I'm like, man. Yep.
Jeez. I don't know how I followed that up. That's a great list, bro. That's a great list. Neverland, has one of my favorite, songs. Probably one of the most impactful songs. Um, yeah, on there. And Emmanuel has a bar in it, and he talks about, I never had a role model. Now I gotta be one.
Yeah, yeah. He was saying he could communicate what you were thinking very well. Like, I think that's what Drake does well.
Yeah.
He can take your feelings that you can't articulate, and then he can put it into like, oh, I feel that. Like, yep.
Yeah, and I feel like his music is real. Like, it's relatable. Like, you're gonna feel it. And like, at the same thing, I feel like where NFL yeah, I'm sorry, I gotta keep
NFL.
I gotta keep calling
It's a
him out.
bar.
Where NFL's Andy succeeds, where Andy, he can give you that real raw emotion, but still point you in the direction of where hope is anchored.
Yeah.
And that's in Jesus. Like on his it's one of the projects, The Arrow and the Sword, one of them, he has that there's this one where it's just like they're just singing Jesus, like,
Yeah,
it's G,
dope, man.
like,
He puts a lot of art in his
Yeah.
artwork.
then-
Uncomfortable was dope too.
yeah, and then he has that drawing, I'm not done.
Yep.
On it. But Neverland is definitely, I will put Neverland in my top 5.
Yeah.
So I don't have a top 10, but top 5 for me would be in no particular order. As I said earlier, I'll put Christology in there. I feel like that really like came to me in a season where I needed it. And I needed how would I say it? I needed where it just I needed to fall back in love with Jesus, bro. And I would see that as like just like God like a means of grace that God given me through somebody else who put me onto the album. So yeah, you should really check this out. Cause we were talking about Christian hip hop, and I listened to Christian hip hop, and like, yo, you should really. And I feel like, yo, that drum brought me back. Not that I was like out wilding or far from Jesus. I was just like, yo, bro, cause like I feel like, and here is the when you are a person who is in ministry, who serves, whose whole life is based around Jesus, and being Christian and sharing the gospel, and at that time, like I was serving in church, I was volunteering, I was leading different things. So like it was like, yo, this is what I do. And I'm in Bible school, so like I'm Bible reading, listening to podcasts, like talking about like when Jesus is all you talk about. Andy Mineo has a line in that Neverland joint too. He's like
talking about God more than talking to him. Or
yeah.
Like
Lately I've been talking about Jesus more. I talk to him.
Yep.
And like I feel like Christology was like brought me back to that, yo, like place of like intimacy. And like, yo, like this is what I want. Like I feel like it helped me see Jesus clearly again. And that's one thing I love about KB. And even when I went down to his concert, he said the mission of my life, the goal of my life is to help people see Jesus more clearly. And it wasn't just that album for me. It was accompanied by one of the books I was reading at the time, called Who Is This Man by John Ortberg. And that book is about the unpredictable, inescapable impact of Jesus. And it just talks about how Jesus, not his life, his death, his life, and his resurrection not only has like spiritual implications on us and changes us, but it's like impacted history. It's impacted the world. And he goes in on just like how there's so many things, from hospitals to orphanages, to the Red Cross, to
even
to
the
Salvation
abolitionist
Army.
movement.
All these
Yep.
things have been sparked by the teachings of Jesus, and even different music and different things like that have been sparked by the teachings of Jesus, and in the way, and laws, that in moral code was changed worldwide by the teaching of Jesus, and Christians advocating for certain things because of how they've been changed by Jesus. And that's a whole tangent, but
That's good stuff.
I would say my top 5 CHH albums for the Instagram clip. Christology, by Ambassador. All right. Then I would say Trip Lee.
Which one?
2616.
What was that? 2020? Was that the 2020 joint?
Nah, it's
What was after that?
Why is? Oh my goodness, I could see his face on the album now.
What's he doing?
It's the one where he has
he
got Manolo on it.
Was it The Good Life?
No, not Good Life. It was after that. It was after Good Life. See, I can't just be saying stuff. I should have wrote them down. And it's one of my favorites, and I'm like butchering the name. And I'm gonna feel so. Rise. Why can I not think of that?
Because it's simple.
All right. My top 5 CHH albums: Christology, Ambassador, Rise, Trip Lee, Neverland by
Andy
Mineo. Jesus, it's hard.
Yeah, that's why I had 10. I'm like, I can't just narrow down 5.
Neverland by Andy Mineo. For me personally, I know I want to put Rebel or even like Overdose here. But for me personally, I'll put it's not even like it and this is for me personally. It's not that this, I'm not even gonna justify it. I'll put
Just drop it. MC Hammer.
Oh man, did I say Truth yet?
Nope. You might need. That's why I got 10. There's just no way.
Bro,
There's no way.
I'm put The Whole Truth. Oh man, this is hard. The Whole Truth up there, and by the Truth, and then my number 1 is KB, bro. Like I can't
album?
even pick
all of KB or
I can't even I really rock with his latest music. But I'm honestly, to tell you the truth, I think his next album is gonna be his best album.
The next one's gonna be the best one. It's HGA 2, right?
So
HGA 1 was pretty much just a worship hip hop album.
Yeah.
Collab with all the big names in CCM.
So Don't Nobody Own Us. I would say Dio and Don't Nobody Own Us 2 could definitely be up there. Don't Nobody Own Us could definitely be up there. Don't Nobody Own Us 2 is just like hit after hit after hit after hit for me. Like anthem. I was listening to HGA, and the one where it was talking about was it Beautiful or Black Eyes or something like that. And I was listening to that, and I'm like, why did these lyrics not hit me like this before? And I was like, maybe it's because we were talking about CHH today, but I was listening to it, and and the way he was talking about just like racial injustice and all these things, and in the church, and oh my word, like that song is so deep.
He's articulate,
bro.
He got bars for days. Yeah,
like I'm pretty, like I have a pretty big KB bias, so like honestly, I feel like any of his last 3 albums, like because I've rocked with them so hard, like I would put in that spot.
Yeah.
But like for me, I think if I want to do top 5 artists, CHH artists,
yeah, that's different than top 5.
in
Mm-hmm.
in me, no particular order, KB, Lecrae, person KB,
Mm-hmm.
Lecrae. This is hard too. Jeez, Truth.
Yeah.
Man,
I would have to.
Yeah, KB, Lecrae, Truth, and bro, I have to go with like Andy Mineo. That's a crazy lineup.
Yeah, who's your 5? Because it's almost like you want to pick a new person, but
I kind of want to pick. I kind of want to pick a new person,
We might have to do it by year.
bro. Like I said, KB, Lecrae, Truth, Andy, and honestly, bro, somebody I've been rocking really, really, really hard with the last few years is Jay Monty.
Jay Monty, yeah. You need like a top 20 list,
bro,
because
and like that's personal preference. Like
contributes,
there's very few
like,
people like, and
Show Baraka,
Show Baraka. Oh my word,
Bizzle.
And when I'm talking about like production value of like, there's that one album Show Baraka has, and it's like named after, all the songs are named after a year.
Oh yeah, the Talented, was it Talented 10th, or was it
Bro, that album is insane.
So when you listen to there's a couple interviews where Lecrae was like, yo, Show, what I'm on now, Show was there.
Yeah.
And because there was no market for it and people didn't vibe with it, he walked out. He caught on early like, yo, this music is going to be marketed to little kids that don't fit our demographic. Can't do it. And he kind of got martyred for it in a sense, musically martyred for it. And then Lecrae drops Church Clothes, and some people are like, yeah. Some are like, this ain't you're no longer rhyming John Piper sermons, right?
Bro.
We're cutting you off. Yeah.
I'm telling you, I listen to this album all the time, and every time I'm like, yo, what album is this one? It's The Narrative.
The Narrative, yes.
Bro,
yep,
this
narrative,
like, I'm telling you, when I'm this, and for reference, this came out in 2016. One I think one of the misconceptions about Christian hip hop in general, the Christian hip hop has been talking about, when I listen back to old songs, they've been talking about racial injustice in their raps forever. But like, Show Baraka definitely engages with it, on a different level in this album.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Like, it's deep. Like, this album is deep. He has some it's such a creative masterpiece, bro. Like, there's literally no, like, this could easily be a top 5 album. Easily.
It is. It just, he didn't have the machine behind him. So,
like, when I list my top 5 CHH albums, like, this one could easily be in there.
Like,
and
you're not getting a tour off of that album. You're not.
Yeah.
That's not going to be in the lineup of
like
greatest hits.
He has Afro influence. He has jazz. He has soul.
Yep.
He has gospel, all on this album.
And we'll go to Chance or Gospel Kanye for that, and he already provided us with that.
Yeah. So like what?
Or Kendrick, right?
And that's the thing is people think like what Kanye came in doing in Christian circles was new. It wasn't.
Nope.
It's just like when Christian artists were trying to do that, people told them it was whack, or didn't get behind it. Cause like, for instance, like Kanye, a lot of the stuff that what's the choir called? The Sunday service choir. Yeah. They were like flipping like secular songs and then just like putting Christian lyrics on it.
Kurt Franklin been on that.
Yeah. And when Christian was doing that, we would tell him it was whack.
Yeah.
But I personally, I don't like that. I don't like when people do that. I sometimes I think it lacks creativity. I think it's different. Rapping over a beat, a secular beat. Like, all right, so like, if an artist puts out a beat and the beat's fire, and then you get on it and you just like make a cover.
That's
or
how Bizzo started.
Yeah, like I think that's different than like taking a tune or a melody, and then just ripping that and then inserting Christian lyrics. Like,
and it just sounds like a B-rated version of something that was hot.
Yeah, and I don't know. That's just my personal.
Yeah, we're too far in the game to be having the need to do that.
Yeah,
because I used to say back when we used to debate about Christian hip hop, and we've always used mainstream beats, but no mainstream artists are going to use a Lecrae beat and rap over that. We would not like that.
Yeah.
Don't take his beat and then rap over with drugs and women.
Yeah.
But we do it to their stuff.
There's this TikTok page, and there's these two guys, and bro, I commented like I don't comment on people's. I try not to, but I was like, I commented. I was like, yo, this is so cringe. Like that's exactly. I said this is so cringe. Like exactly what I went Gen Z on them. I was like, this is so cringe. Like, in their comment, because like they have a whole TikTok page and it's like sanctifying secular songs part 102. I'm like, and then they'll take like a popular pop song and then just make like Jesus is my boyfriend type like lyrics.
Yo, we moved on from that. We're past that.
I'm like, yo, like this, like I'm not saying y'all can't sing. I'm not saying y'all not gifted. I'm saying this lacks so much creativity and substance. Like this is, and people are like, oh my gosh, this is so good. I've been looking for like an alternative. I'm like, I mean, like, and I was listening to a podcast, and it might have been, yo, I listen to so many podcasts. I don't remember if it was like Ruslan or if it was somebody, bro. And they were talking about the Tyler Perry plays. This was on KB. This was on KB's podcast, I'm pretty sure. And they were talking about the Tyler Perry plays, and they said like how like they used to like be like so critical of like people who would watch them and like, yo, like that's like trash entertainment and da da da. But he said then like there was like somebody like close to him like that like really enjoyed it and was like moved to tears in it, and it just brought like it did something for them, you know. And he said like, why can't we just let people enjoy what they enjoy sometimes, and like instead like we're so critical of it. So I was like, that kind of like convicted me as I thought of that. And I was like, this is cringe, but I was like, look at the comments and people were like, oh, this is exactly
enjoy what
this.
They
I was like, all
enjoy.
right, maybe I should just let y'all enjoy what you enjoy.
Everybody likes their coffee made a different way. You know?
Yeah.
Yep. Have at it.
That's funny.
It's not hurting them.
All right. Bro, we talked about a lot.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm honored to come back and do a part 3, man, we gotta.
I think
we gotta do talk about Christian battle rap, or you know what I mean.
Yo, did I ever tell you Christian battle rap? I got some stories. I actually met Loso.
Well, I guess Christians who battle.
I got some behind the scenes info. No, I'm just I don't got nothing. I don't got nothing. I don't got nothing. I don't got nothing.
My ears got perked up. Yeah.
Let me tell you about the time. I mean, for one is like the cool testament I have about Loso is as cool as Loso and as dope as Loso is on stage, he's like 100 times doper in person. Like just getting to sit and talk with him. He's funny. He's down to earth. He's cool. Like he's really like cool.
So you really
like
got to meet him.
Like when you like think of like yo like a cool person, like somebody like you'd want to kick it with, like
that's him.
That's him. Like in.
Did you get to ask the big question? Because I've never met him in person. Like, what's his relationship like with KB?
I did.
Yeah,
I did. I honestly don't remember. I probably asked. He probably thinks I'm annoying. He never texted me back after he got on the plane.
Like, bro. Right.
But man, like so. Full story. Loso came to the church I was attending a few years ago. We did an outreach during the summer, and like I was like, yo, we gotta. I saw him like post something on his Instagram, but like, yo, like I'm like he was trying to do a tour for his new project or something like that, and he was looking for places, that would have him, and like I'm telling my pastor like, yo, we gotta get Loso, like we gotta get Loso. Like y'all think I love rap? Like I love battle rap. Like I love battle rap. Like I like. I mean, I can go on about it. Like I was like, when I knew that like Christian battle rappers were a thing, like I would watch hours and hours of their content and like over and over and over. I first got put on to Christian battle rap because I like Jin the MC.
Oh yeah, shout out.
So Jin the MC, for anybody who doesn't know, Jin the MC actually won this. There used to be a battle rap contest on 106 in Park on Fridays. I think it was called Freestyle Friday or something like that. It was just a battle rap. And they would rap over a beat against their opponent, and I think Jin went all the way up and won.
Yeah, this is when they didn't have memorized lyrics. This is off the dome. Yep.
And then they would rap. So anyway, Jin wins the contest. After that, Jin signs with one of the major hip hop
Rough Riders.
Yep. Signs with the major hip hop record label, and then gets saved. Get saved.
Perfect timing, God, when the money's coming in.
Yeah, gets saved, and like kind of like he starts making Christian. So I knew Jin. I was following Jin, and this is just like how good God is. I was following Jin all throughout that journey. On 106 in Park and him winning, and then when I like got serious about my faith to find out that like when I because like battle rap was something that I always loved. Like when I was younger, there used to be these we used to have on demand. There was like a section if you had Comcast on demand where you can go in and listen to like battle rap, and there would be people in like their backyards or like under a pavilion and they're recording and they're battle rapping, and like just like how the culture is now, but it was like real street. It wasn't like it was like yo, they're in a park like a like under a pavilion or in like some alleyway, and like they just got
Meek Mill without the braids type battle rap.
Yeah. It wasn't nothing like elaborate, and I would listen to these joints and like their wordplay and their bars and how hard they would go at each other, bro. It was insane. And sometimes they would say the stupidest stuff, but it was so funny. Yeah. It was so funny.
You always get the comedians.
Yo, the one dude, I guess he was going against somebody in his hometown, and like, yo, my friend Trey, he'll probably remember this, but we were watching it, and he was like, yo, let's not pretend, but let's go back to elementary school when you ain't have no friends. And everybody in the crowd was like, yeah.
Yep.
But also like that's what inspired the viral sensation like Super Hot Fire.
Yeah.
Where glasses, jacket, shirt. Yeah. Like that guy was his like backyard battle rap. So like battle rap was something I was always like intrigued by, and I always thought like Jin was this dope artist. So like when people be talking about like lyricism and like stuff like that, like back then again, like music was an experience. It was a community. It was a culture. It was something you shared with your friends, right? So like at the lunch table, I remember like we're talking about rap and like people who are dope, and I'm like, yo, you got to check out like this. Like I'm putting people on to like something they didn't know about.
Yeah,
was these rap battles, and I show them Jin, and then in that process, I see like this dude is making like Christian music, and I start following him. But then I'm like, yo, there's like Christian battle rap, and then I start following that, and then I'm like, then I got put on to Loso, who at that time he was going by Loso HGA.
Yep.
And fast forward, like Loso really started like blowing up in the not Christian battle rap. Like battle rap, like he was going into battle rap and like destroying people. Like I'm talking like, yo,
is he your favorite?
Loso?
Yeah. Battle rapper.
Yeah. For sure.
I like them all. I think A-Ward is
A-Ward's top notch. A-Ward's top notch.
Not just as a Christian, but as a battle rapper.
Yeah.
And Saga. beast, and he's been doing it longer than them.
Yeah. Saga's been doing it way longer. Yeah, and I think from Losa's just my guy. I got rock for Losa. So, but
I'm still waiting on his recent battle to pop out. A-Ward battles like twice a day. It's crazy.
A-Ward's wordplay, his rebuttals are insane. His rebuttals are insane. And yeah, I just really was inspired by watching Losa like go into these battles and with clarity, without compromise and with power, like share the gospel. And like Losa has a way of just like kind of like tearing down the whole gangster persona, and then like
it's dope. It's dope ministry. It's respected, and it gives God glory, because it's like, one of the best or some of the best battle rappers in the world are believers.
Yeah,
and they don't shy away. They do the craft just like everybody else.
Yeah. And so, long story. So, I was like telling my pastor at the time, like, we got to get Loso to come to this outreach, and basically like, we were able to get money together to have Loso come out, and I got to be the one to like drive down to the airport by myself and pick him, bro.
Okay.
I was hyped.
Did you didn't have your podcast at the time?
I didn't have my podcast. I didn't have bro. I probably asked him his questions like he was on my podcast or something. Like,
that'd have been a perfect documentary,
bro. It was dope. It was a dope experience, because like you get to see, like, at this point, like I have been following Loso for like 5-6 years. You know what I'm saying? So like just like the impact, like, and I probably didn't say it to him or express it, but like the impact that he really had on my Christian walk was like significant. Because like I was saying, like when we're listening to these dudes in CHH, like they're discipling us in real time. Yeah. And I'm not saying that takes the place over like real discipleship with pastors and leaders in your local church.
Too. Like, you need a hammer to build a house, but you can't just use a hammer. Yeah. But these are real.
Yeah,
tools.
Facts.
Yeah.
So like, I'm sitting in the car and I have an opportunity to like pick the brain of somebody I just been like listening to. Like, I'm talking about, like, we went to this joint in Philly a few years ago, and he was there at it was an event at Esperanza College in Philly. Okay. And he did a spoken word, and then he did a class. He taught on a class there about like Christian hip hop and urban context or something like that. And then I went back the next year, and then he was there again, you know. And then it's like, but at this, like, it's only like I've only seen him at a distance, and I think like one time he walked by and like he just like dapped me up real quick, and I thought that was like the coolest jaunt. And then and then but like then like a few years later, then I get the chance to pick him up at the airport and like really like hang out with him. Like, that was dope. Like, you know, even if we never get to do it again,
it happened. It's in the books.
Yeah, like that was a dope experience. And like the thing about and I think that's one of the beauty about like the kingdom is that like sometimes like the people that you look up to, like, it's not impossible to meet these people. Yeah. Like, you can, like, they're not out of reach, they're not out of touch. Like, you can actually like meet them.
It's crazy. Yep. I've met Big Cross Movement. I've met all of them. I never met Lecrae. I met Trip Lee. I met Everyday Process. I met R. Swift. Yeah.
Yeah, I met Truth. That was big. When he came to Teen Haven a few years ago. I met Truth, and I got to talk to him, and I got to tell him the impact that he had on my life. And I wouldn't say I met Lecrae. I took a picture with him.
It counts, right?
I wouldn't count it. Like, it wasn't like any conversation. Right. Like, it was like we got like a VIP tickets when he was doing the Anomaly tour, and then me and my friend.
That was a big tour.
Yeah, man. Got a picture with him. I'm trying to think of some other artists I met, but that's irrelevant.
But like you said, they're tangible,
Yeah.
which is what makes music different than when we were growing up. You
Mhm.
didn't see there was no access. If I can't see you, I can still shoot a text, a DM, right? It's different.
Yeah. So the real question is, why are CHH artists more accessible than some of these celebrity No, I'm joking. I'm joking. We're not gonna go there.
So that's gonna be the next episode.
CHH artists and celebrity pastors. No, I'm joking. We're not gonna.
One you pick up at the airport. The other one they bring their own jet in. How many Secret Service security officers did Loso have?
0. Yeah.
Celebrity pastor.
I was a security.
Right.
I wasn't doing much.
Different tax bracket, different access.
Yep. Yo, Loso's that guy though. Loso's that guy. He was cool. He was dope to hang out with. So shout out to Loso. But yeah, like you asked on this relationship with KB. At that time, he just said like yeah, they're
cordial.
Yeah, they're boys. Like they're cordial. Like they're not like,
let's do a song together. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, that would be dope.
Because y'all are the foundation. Like I like HGA, him Second Chance, Loso, and Loso did a song about HGA a while ago. Like,
that'd be dope. That'd be dope. We gotta do this again, bro.
And then them two need to battle because KB got bars.
Who you think would win?
Loso would win a battle. It's a different type of delivery.
Yeah, and that's what
I don't know if he can do a song though. He's not an artist. He might say he is, but KB is
that's been my
KB.
Loso be surprising me though. Like that's the thing. Like Loso be surprising me. Like this is my take on Loso. And if we're gonna be honest about Christian rap, like sometimes it's like people like, I guess like in Christian space, like people don't like critiquing Christian artists or whatever. Like it's almost like you don't want to say somebody's not good at something, right? But
right.
It's, to me, it's like an obvious. Loso is and it's not hating, right? Is a much better battle rapper than he is a rapper on a song. But the thing that always surprises me about Loso is when I hear him on somebody else's song.
When you're a feature, yep.
When he's a feature, it's like, yo, it's like a different Loso. I'm like,
it's just something about.
It's like, yo, Loso as a feature is
but that's true.
Deadly.
That's true. Like I don't want to hear a A-Ward song per se.
Yeah.
I do want to hear him battle.
Yeah.
Right. I don't want to hear a Saga song. I do want to definitely want to hear him battle. Yeah. Same thing with Cassidy. Like he's not going to drop an album anytime soon.
But it's just like, man, like when somebody specializes in something, like I think like the other things that they do, or even if they do it well, like you kind of like don't appreciate it as much. So that could be like the thing.
Yeah,
as well.
It is. But I could see bar for bar, KB is clever. But delivery as a battle rapper, Loso got it.
Yeah.
And just the material, like
it's an art. It's a different art form.
Yep.
It's the same. It's under the same category of hip hop, but it's a different.
Yeah.
It's a different form.
It's
expression.
Different discipline, kind of like martial arts.
Yeah.
You can be, a jiu-jitsu guy or a kickboxer.
Yeah. That's a good.
I think Loso got that one.
Yeah. I think there's I think that's the other thing. It's like, bro, like one thing I hope doesn't happen is like songs like this last one that KB dropped, like his Easy song. I hope that his lyricism doesn't get overlooked because of the dope beats. Like, yo, like in Easy, bro, like, oh my God.
Yeah.
The lyricism in, like, I'm talking about, bro, like if you could do a whole podcast breaking down.
He writes how he thinks. He
breaking down that song. Like the lyrics on that are like, I'm trying to pull up. Like he says, my ex-men with Marvel that he freed me. Like,
He's slick with it, bro. I'm telling you.
he said I'm on Black Air Force One, and like,
I heard Loso say, they asked him who in Christian hip hop would make a good battle rapper, and he said KB would, and Bizzle.
Bizzle.
Yeah,
Why Bizzle?
Bizzle already has the grittiness of a battle rapper
Yeah.
anyway. Like,
Yeah, I think Dayton used to battle rap.
yep.
Dayton's dope lyrically. Dayton's a lyric.
He is, and he's consistent. Like, there's no way in the world you can't say he's not CHH.
Yeah, and like a lot of Dayton's raps are like coming against like worldly ideologies or thought structures. Like even like how he comes against like
I think he's applying apologetics.
Yeah.
In his
Yeah.
lyrics now.
Yeah.
You
It's
can,
a lot of
you can sense it.
apologetics.
Yep.
Which is dope.
Yeah, it is dope. He's growing.
Yeah, man. Well, this was great.
Yeah, man, we did it again.
We're gonna have to do it again.
You got a lot to chop up.
Yeah, we got a lot to chop up. A lot to chop up. We got almost 2 hours of content, which is
Let's go. This is dope.
which is great. So I appreciate you.
Oh, anytime. You
Yep.
let me know.
For y'all, thank you for sticking with us. If you
Yes,
made it
yes.
this far, don't forget, always remember, it's not over and God is not done with you. Peace.
Peace.